Hello and welcome to the Football News Zone, the show around up all the biggest stories in the beautiful game right now. The rounds of 16 have been taking place across the continent this week, but which other stories have grabbed our attention? This week, Lucas Paqueta is facing a potential lifetime ban from football. Mason Greenwood has switched his international allegiance to Jamaica from England, and the 2026 World Cup will have a halftime show. Yes, it actually will. All that and a whole lot more is coming up in today's show. Let's dive in. So West Ham and Brazilian midfielder Lucas Paqueta is going to face trial this month for his alleged breach of gambling rules in football. Now, this is something that emerged quite some time ago. Paqueta was basically alleged to have made bets indirectly against matches and certain outcomes involving West Ham United, involving as well him getting yellow cards. And if you look at those fouls during those games for him to get a yellow card, it looks very sus. It doesn't look very good, to be honest. But let's have a look at what's going to happen with this, guys. I've got a full article here on the on skysports.com, and yeah, the FA is seeking a lifetime ban from football for Paqueta. So this is not on the scale of Sandro Tonali or someone like that, who was out for, was he out for like 6 months or something like that? This is a lifetime ban. So this could literally end his career in the professional game. So it's very, very serious. Let's have a look at what's been said here. Lucas Paqueta's betting charge hearing is due to take place this month and will last for 3 weeks, according to Sky Sports News. The Brazilian was charged with breaching betting rules in May of last year. It is understood that he will face a 3-week hearing this month, which is set to be one of the longest court proceedings in the Football Association's history. English football's governing body is seeking a lifetime ban for the midfielder. Paqueta was charged with spot-fixing offences in 4 Premier League matches. The Brazilian international denies any wrongdoing, but the FA has charged him in relation to his conduct in matches against Leicester in November 22, Aston Villa in March 23, Leeds in May 23, and Bournemouth last August. The FA charges from 2024 state that Paqueta tried to influence the progress, conduct, or any other aspect of or occurrence in these matches by intentionally seeking to receive a card from the referee for the improper purpose of affecting the betting market in order for one or more persons to profit from betting. Paqueta was also charged with 2 breaches of FA Rule F3 in respect to alleged failures to comply pursuant to FA Rule F2, which relates to providing information and documents. Well, that basically means that he didn't come forth when he was ordered to initially, so he's going to be charged with that on top of it as well. In a statement at the time, Paqueta said, "I am extremely surprised and upset that the FA has decided to charge me. For 9 months, I have cooperated with every step of the investigation and provided all the information I can. I deny the charges in their entirety and will fight every breath to clear my lane. Due to the ongoing process, I will not be providing any further comment." Both the FA and West Ham did not comment when approached by Sky Sports News. Paqueta will not rest until his name is cleared. The betting charge hearing is taking place this month and we expect it to last 3 weeks. He was charged for breaching betting rules in May of last year. The FA is asking for a lifetime ban for the midfielder. Cave Solinar's understanding is that Paqueta's situation is, his feeling is, whatever happens, he will clear his name. He insists that he's done nothing wrong and will not rest until his name is cleared. There is talk of a lifetime ban, but that does not enter his thinking. He believes he has not put a bet on any football game. Now, without knowing all the ins and outs, and I've heard a lot of noise when it comes to this, I remember when this first came up, basically, what is alleged to have happened is that it might not have been Paqueta himself, but it might have been friends and family back in Brazil. I'm sure I heard that there was a spike in the betting market around him getting yellow cards in those games, and it was pretty unusual. I think that is what actually flagged it to the FA for doing this. So, I mean, it is bad. If he has done what he's alleged to have done, it's one thing to bet on a football game and that be a football match when you're a footballer and you're betting just against a Premier League team or something like that, and that's bad. You can't do that according to the rules. It's very strict on that sort of stuff, which I understand. I understand why. Those are the rules, and we're not going to debate whether that's right or wrong. I'm just saying those are the rules. But when it comes to Paqueta, if what he has alleged to have done is what he did, what he's found to have done in this 3-week trial, it's really bad, because you are like it said in the thing, you are influencing the game to make a profit. You are enriching those people from insider information, effectively. You know, insider trading and insider information and stuff like that is a big no-no in the world of stocks and shares and all that. So it's a little bit like that. It's a little bit like that. And we've seen people be banned for all sorts. I think Kieran Trippier, he got banned for a little bit for letting his brother know that he was going to go to Atletico Madrid and bet on it. So even though Trippier didn't put the bet on himself, his brother did, and he got a ban for it for a couple of weeks, I think, something like that. If he has done what he's alleged to have done, Paqueta, it's really bad. Like I said, you're effectively affecting the outcome of a match. I know it's a yellow card. It's not like it's a goal or something like that, but the principle is still the same. I think a lifetime ban would be incredibly harsh, to be honest, depending on what he's done. And we'll find out more about this as it goes on. But unless he's done the worst of the absolute worst, I think a lifetime ban is severe. I'll be surprised if he gets that unless it is really that damning. But we'll see what happens. I don't think there's a previous precedent for this in England, at least not on this scale, unless I'm forgetting something, obviously, but I can't think of a betting scandal that is quite this severe in England when it comes to players. But your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Would a lifetime ban be fair? Would it be too harsh? What do you think is going to happen to Paqueta during this trial? Your thoughts in the comments below, as always, guys. So Mason Greenwood, a rather controversial figure to say the very least, and we're not going to get into that because we've already spoken about him quite a bit when it comes to those controversies here on the Football Chronicles. So if you want to talk about the off-field issues, to put it mildly, there's other videos you can go through with that. But these days, Greenwood is over at Olympique Marseille. He's actually having a very good season, in fairness. I just looked, he's had 15 goals so far this season for the French side over in Ligue 1. And he has officially turned his allegiance now to Jamaica instead of England. I don't know if Greenwood ever actually won a cap for England, but he was in the conversation early in his career. And now, for many, many reasons, I don't think he'd ever make it back to the Three Lions. That would be far too controversial, and rightfully so as well. He has allegedly done some very horrible things, of course, not proven in court, but very controversially dismissed, of course, from court. Again, we're not going to get into the weeds on that one, but let's have a look at this, guys. There's a full article here on the footballchronicle.com, as always, and yeah, instead of going for his birth country, he's gone for, I presume, either one of his parents' country or grandparents' country in Jamaica. So let's have a look at what's said here, guys. Full article, as always, on footballchronicle.com. The Football Association has confirmed that Mason Greenwood has swapped his international allegiance from England to Jamaica, ending any chance of a Three Lions return. Greenwood, 23 years of age, still only 23. I thought he was older, to be honest. Rebooted his career at Marseille after exiting Manchester United last year, following a 2022 suspension tied to charges of attempted rape, assault and coercive behaviour, later dropped when key witnesses pulled out and new evidence surfaced. Capped once by England in 2020, so he did make his Three Lions debut. Greenwood faced slim recall odds under Gareth Southgate, who downplayed a return post charges. So obviously wasn't going to make any appearances for England while that case was going on. He would have made an appearance in a friendly, not a competitive game. If you can still play for a different national team if you are capped in a friendly, because it's not a competitive game. If he played in the Euros, the World Cup, or a qualifier, then he would have been capped locked effectively to England, but he did not do that, so he is free to switch to Jamaica, which he has done. Thomas Tuchel, set to name his first England squad on the 14th of March, which is next week, won't consider Greenwood as he finalises his Jamaica switch, his father's birthplace. FA chief Mark Bullingham unveiled the 2024 to 2028 strategy, said, "So my understanding, and I have had to double check my understanding, is that he's asked to switch. That's happened formally, so he wouldn't be able to play for England in the future because you can only switch once." Let's not forget Declan Rice and Jack Grealish, they both switched as well back in the day. Pressed on whether Greenwood was told he had no England future, Bullingham added, "No, we actually didn't have that communication. I know people asked Gareth about him, and Gareth was upfront and said that he hadn't been in his thinking because he hadn't been performing at that level, so I'm not aware of any communication we had with him. I don't think there was ever a request or anything like that. It just wasn't one we got to, so it's a personal decision by him." Greenwood's form shines abroad. 10 goals in 36 outings, now 15 in 24 at Marseille, fueling PSG summer whispers, but England's loss is Jamaica's gain. Good riddance, quite frankly, in my opinion. He can stay gone. I am more than happy to lose Greenwood to Jamaica, and I think purely on a footballing basis, would he get back into the England setup? I mean, he's in good form. Let's be honest, he's in good form, but he's also in good form in France, and I personally don't think that he would be good enough. He's not on the level of some of the players that are ahead of him, the likes of... I honestly rate Palmer and Gordon and players like that. Even obviously Saka as well, you know. And you're thinking about maybe playing him up front as a striker. You know, obviously Harry Kane, Watkins, they've got them positions on lockdown. I don't think, even if you take the controversies away from him, I don't think he merits an England cap right now. He's on the borderline with this form. He'd be in the conversation perhaps, but yes, good riddance. Honestly, just good riddance. I'm glad he'll never make an appearance for England again, and I'm not gonna criticize Jamaica for allowing him onto the team. You know, whatever. You know, that is something for the Reggae Boys to discuss. And yes, that is their official nickname. I am not generalizing there with that. That is what they're known as internationally. So yeah, and you never know, Jamaica could well make it to the World Cup in 2026. There's more spots on offer than ever. Canada, Mexico, and the USA have automatically all qualified, so the North American qualifying is wide open. So Mason Greenwood, with that switch, could well make an appearance at the 2026 World Cup. Oh boy, I'm sure that would be not controversial in the slightest. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Is Greenwood worth a second chance for Jamaica? Is he worthy of his second chance over in Marseille? Or do you think his name is very much muddied by the waters of all these cases against him? I should say case singular, there was only one, but yeah, it was a rather bad one. So Liam Roberts, the Millwall backup goalkeeper, has been causing a lot of controversy ever since Millwall played against Crystal Palace in the 5th round of the FA Cup at Selhurst Park this weekend. So for those that don't know, for those that missed my review of the action in the FA Cup this weekend, basically Roberts did an absolute kung fu kick. I would have to describe it as his foot was a good 5.5 feet in the air when he tried to challenge for the ball against Jean-Philippe Mateta. Mateta, of course, a Crystal Palace attacker, and so very much came off second best in that encounter. If you've seen the replays, every replay you look at, it gets worse and worse. And by the way, I just want to say, Roberts, I don't think there was any malice in what he did. I don't think he intentionally went out to hurt Mateta. Hurt him, he absolutely did. An unbelievable collision between the two of them. You know, I've never had a football boot kicked into my face, thankfully, but I can imagine it hurts a lot. And in fact, Mateta did end up going to hospital to receive 25 stitches in his left ear. Now, before I go on about this too much, right, I cannot believe some of the comments on Microsoft when I did my review of the FA Cup. People saying, oh, it wasn't even that bad of a challenge, football's gone soft, this is just, you know, the game's gone, that sort of thing, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It is one of the worst tackles I have ever seen, without a doubt. I don't think it's quite the worst. Probably the worst is Caron, the French forward, I forget his name now, World Cup 82, I want to say. It was sometime in the 1980s. And in that one, Schumacher did very much try and go to hurt him. Just like I said in the video, a lot of people commenting without watching the full video. Steve Parish did kind of describe it, the Crystal Palace owner did describe it as the most reckless challenge he has ever seen, and that is why I put the title as what I put it in my FA Cup review. Now, the FA has been a decision on this, basically, in terms of punishment, because at the time, initially, he wasn't given a red card initially. He actually took VAR intervention to give him a red card, but a red card he did get, went down to 10 men, and he eventually lost the game. Now, I believe Roberts actually has a 3-match ban, which is basically the standard for violent conduct. If you're sent off for a straight red card in a match in England, you are given a 3-match ban because of that. If you get like a second yellow card, it's usually just a 1-match ban for that red card that you earned for that. But the FA, the Football Association, is actually now pushing for a longer ban. A much longer ban for him to serve. And, you know, I think that's absolutely fair enough. You know, Millwall are very much... they're kind of trying to drag the heels on this one. They're trying to play the victim in all this, and they're trying to say that, you know, they've been made the victim of a media campaign against them, which I just don't buy at all. Alex Neil, the manager for Millwall, embarrassing what he was saying after the game in the interview. That it's a red card. It doesn't matter whether he meant it or not. I don't think he meant it, for what it's worth, but the intent is not important here. What is important is that the guy ended up in the hospital. So for me, there absolutely has to be a bigger punishment for this. You can't allow players to be hurt like that. And it could have been worse. This is the thing, right? It could have easily been worse. If Mateta's head was angled slightly differently, he could well have, been blinded in his eye. He could have got hit in his eye. There could have been a severe injury there. I mean, it was a severe injury anyway. He had 20, let me just repeat that, 25 stitches. People are making out like it wasn't even that bad. It was horrific, and he deserves to be punished for it. He deserves to be sent off. Roberts himself has to respond to this rather than the club, Millwall. He's got until Thursday as I record this. This video will go out on the same day as what he has to basically to respond to this. But yeah, it's an incredible thing. I mean, the FA has basically said this is a truly exceptional set of circumstances, and the standard punishment is clearly insufficient, which I totally agree with. So yeah, we will see what happens. We will see what happens. I mean, the Millwall fans are supporting Roberts, and I get that, it's your player, but at the end of the day, the dude's messed up. He deserves to be punished for it, and to be honest, it's not even going to affect Millwall that much. He's not even the main goalkeeper, so I know it's the principle of it. I understand that, but it's not really even going to affect Millwall that much anyway. It's just not going to be on the bench for matches instead of not playing. It's still not going to play. So yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. I'll bring you in updates with this, but for me, it absolutely warrants at least a 5-6 match ban. It's got to be for something like that, surely. But what do you think's appropriate? Let us know in the comments below. So, Manchester United not doing well now. We've said this a million times on these videos, but there is a protest that is going to happen at the weekend as they face one of their previous title rivals. Remember Manchester United and Arsenal in the early days of the Premier League? Not the early days, but the mid-early days. Wenger v Ferguson, one of the great rivals in the Premier League. I don't think we've got close to that level of rivalry since then, really. City, Liverpool, it's all right, but even peak Klopp and Guardiola had nothing on Wenger and Ferguson back in the day. That was peak prime Premier League back then. But the fortunes of these two clubs, I mean, Arsenal fans are complaining about their club and lack of silverware, which I do understand, but it's real chalk and cheese between these two sides now. And if you're going on pure form at the moment, Arsenal are probably going to absolutely smash Manchester United, not least because they smashed PSV Eindhoven in the Champions League this midweek as well. And Manchester United, at the time of recording, depending on when you watch this, it may have already happened, but they've obviously got a trip over to Real Sociedad in the Europa League on Thursday, so they'll be even less fresh. They've got an injury crisis, and frankly, their form is absolute trash at the moment. So let's have a look, because understandably, Manchester United fans are wanting to protest, and here's how they're going to do it this weekend. Full article on thefootballchronicle.com as always. Manchester United fans are set to make a stark statement this Sunday, with the 1958 supporters group urging matchgoers to wear black for their Premier League showdown against Arsenal at Old Trafford, symbolising a club they claim is slowly dying under the Glazer family's ownership. The call comes amid mounting frustrations over United's direction, both on and off the pitch, as financial strains deepen and a wretched season unfolds. Last September, United posted a £113 million net loss for the 2023-24 season, with February figures revealing a £14.5 million payout to sacked manager Erik ten Hag, his staff, and ex-sporting director Schwiff. Debt interest payments hit £18.8 million over 6 months. Since Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos Group took a 27.7% stake last February, cost cutting has bitten hard. Ticket prices are now a flat £66 regardless of age, and redundancies have rolled out in waves. The club is slowly dying before our eyes on and off the pitch, and the blame lies squarely at the current ownership model, the 1958 supporters group Steve Crompton said in a Tuesday release. The club is facing financial Armageddon. Debt is the road to ruin. Sir Matt Busby would be turning in his grave at the current plight of one of the world's greatest football institutions, which is being brought to his knees and in many ways becoming a laughing stock. That is an understatement, if anything. Ruben Amorim's October arrival hasn't stemmed the tide. If anything, to be honest, it's kind of amplified it. Sunday's FA Cup exit to Fulham on penalties only sharpened the gloom. The club is going backwards, and it's likely to get even even worse, the group statement added. We urge fans to rise up, unite and join us at 3 p.m. on Sunday as we march to the ground and protest against the despised Glazers and the club's deliberate assault on fan culture. The Glazers' 2005 leveraged buyout saddled United, a once debt-free giant with over £500 million in debt, igniting fan fury that has burned ever since. It is the second straight week of protests following last Sunday's ticket price backlash against Fulham alongside the Football Supporters Association. I mean, that sums it up better than I ever could, really. It is a very sad state of affairs, both on and off the pitch, and unfortunately doesn't really show many signs of getting better, to be honest. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. I mean, I think in the long term things will probably improve, but it just seems to be getting worse and worse. They had their worst Premier League finish of 8th last season. This season they're on 14th, I think. They're down there in the teens anyway. And yes, they could recover up to 8th by the end of the season, but time is running out. Time is very much running out on that front. So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. And when you look over at the other side of Manchester, even though Man City are having a terrible season by their standards, they could easily end up with a top 4 finish and an FA Cup to their name. Man United, the best they can really hope for is to win the Europa League and somehow scrape into the Champions League as a result of that. They're not going to get there on league merit. I severely doubt get into Europe unless they win the Europa League. That is the only way they can do it. And even that is going to be tough. There's some decent sides in there that are at least of the quality of the teams that are beating them at Old Trafford every now and again. So your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Are you going to the match? Are you going to take part in this protest? Is this all a bit dramatic? I don't think it's dramatic. I think it's more than fair, to be honest. But let us know your thoughts in the comments below. So the 2026 FIFA World Cup is being primarily hosted in the United States. Canada and Mexico are also co-hosts of the competition, but most of the matches will be played in the US. Indeed, all the matches from, I believe, the quarter-final stage onwards will be played in America. Now, the final itself has caused a bit of controversy because apparently the final of the World Cup will have a Super Bowl style halftime show. Yes, seriously, guys, that is for the wrong kind of football. But let's have a look here, guys, because at the end of the day, there was always going to be something like this happening. This is the United States. They have a very unique kind of culture around sports, and halftime shows are definitely a part of it. A big part of the Super Bowl, the NFL grand final, basically. And now they want to bring it into the World Cup for 2026 as well. Right, let's dive in. Full article on thefootballchronicle.com as always. The 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup final at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey will feature a Super Bowl style halftime show. FIFA President Gianni Infantino has confirmed, marking a break from football tradition. Announced last February as the New York Jersey Stadium, the venue will host the final on the 19th of July 2026. Now with a twist British fans may not warm to. I'm ice cold on this one, personally. Not a fan. Infantino revealed the plan on Instagram. I can confirm the first ever halftime show at the FIFA World Cup final in New York, New Jersey. This will be a fantastic, historic moment for the FIFA World Cup and a show befitting the biggest sporting event in the world. Football's standard 15-minute halftime offers little room for the 30-minute spectacle seen at the Super Bowls. Think Kendrick Lamar, Usher or Rihanna. No word yet on extending the break. If they extend the break, that would be absolutely ridiculous. That is just breaking the sanctity of football, man. This isn't football tradition. Coldplay's Chris Martin and Phil Harvey will advise FIFA on the show and a Times Square takeover. We also spoke about how FIFA will take over Times Squares for the final weekend of the FIFA World Cup in 2026 during both the bronze match, the third place playoff to me and you, and the final, Infantino said. These will be two incredible matches featuring some of the biggest players in the world, and what better way to celebrate them in the historic Times Square in New York City. I also want to thank Chris Martin and Phil Harvey of Coldplay, who will be working with us at FIFA to finalise the list of artists who will perform during the halftime show as well as at Times Square. Details on artists and logistics remain under wraps. The list of artists who will perform during the halftime show. So that is making me think that there's going to be more than one. Are we going to have like a Live Aid situation where they've got like 10 minutes or something to perform? Which, to be fair, they only have 15 minutes anyway, or they should only have 15 minutes, right? So, listen. I'm not someone who is against things changing in football, right? I get it has to move with the times to an extent, but it has to do it in the right way. A halftime show, I know what they're doing. They're appealing to the American audience. That is exactly what they're doing. They're appealing to the fans in the stadium. I get that, right? I understand that. But at the same time, that's not football. That is not football. There's nothing wrong with entertainment being on at halftime. You know, whenever I go watch my team, Sheffield United, you know, something will be happening at halftime. You know, the stadium announcer will be saying, you know, reading out names for people's birthdays that have been, you know, allowed to do that sort of thing. You know, you can pay a certain amount of money and you get read out. You know, you can also get, you know, you can get little charity things and little events that are coming up at the stadium. Just kind of little things like that. That's fine. There's no problem with that at all. I don't want like just silence during halftime. But at the end of the day, halftime for me in football, that is a time, depending on what's happening, depending on the time of day, the occasion, everything, grab a beer, get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, get another bottle of pop if you don't drink, get some more snacks. Or if you don't want to do any of that stuff, listen to the halftime analysis of the 45 minutes of football we've just saw. We're not going to get that if there's a halftime show. We're going to get people analysing, I don't know, Rihanna's dancing moves or whatever. I have no idea who is going to be performing for that. But I tell you what, I guarantee anything. I will stake everything on this. It's going to be cringe as anything. It is. It just is. It's just going to be tacky and fake and not football. It's going to be soccer. That's what it's going to be. It's not going to be football. But you know what I mean. You know what I mean. But guys, what do you think? Does the Football World Cup final need a halftime show? I can barely even say that with a straight face because I know the answer. Your thoughts in the comments below. I'm sure you've got plenty of them. And of course, for much more stories from the weird and wacky world of football, do keep it tuned here to thefootballchronicle.com. Have a great day, guys. And yeah, try to forget you heard about this because it's going to be an absolute mess. I guarantee it.